Brought to you by DMRHosting.com. Unlimited data storage, unlimited data transfer, antivirus, and spam protection, along with 24/7 365 support via chat or phone. Get started today with a 30-day free trial at DMRHosting.com. That's DMRHosting.com. It always gets off like that. I'm going to have to fix that. But good morning, everybody. How are you doing today? Today we're going to be talking about a lot of different entertainment, sci-fi, television projects that are out or coming soon that people are excited about on the interwebs. Joining me today is Warren, somebody I've known from several different video or YouTube panels, and he's agreed to come on and talk about these things and help us understand all of the different things that are happening. So, welcome, Warren.
Hi, glad to be here. Thanks for having me. Can't wait to discuss.
So I think the first thing we're going to do is probably talk about the trailer that dropped recently for the upcoming Zack Snyder epic two-parter, I believe, Rebel Moon.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at a little bit of this footage here, and you can catch up people who haven't heard anything about it.
Okay. So, Rebel Moon's supposed to, I believe, it's for December 2022. That's what I believe.
Mm-hmm.
This was actually supposed to be, believe it or not, Zack Snyder had made a pitch to Marvel, Disney, that is now, Star Wars is now a part of, and uh, his was going to be a more gritty take on the sequel that would happen with. But that's how this. That's why he got most of the concepts of it, and they kind of turned it down. Um, and that's as much as I know in regards to how this project got started, and I'm excited for it. Um, it's supposed to be the way it's supposed to be orchestrated is more like a western with a samurai feel, because he took a lot of inspirations from the original Star Wars, and how I forgot the the samurai that Lucas was inspired by, or the original lightsabers, but that's kind of how he got that concept. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like I said, it's a two-parter. Anthony Hopkins, I know, is supposed to be in it. That black actor that we saw in the trailer, and the guy with who looks kind of like Green. He kind of looks like Green Arrow with the gun. I know the actors, I just don't never know their name.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a lot of people in it. And I'm excited. So I want. What are your thoughts when you saw the trailer?
Well, it reminded me a little bit about the Magnificent Seven, which was a riff on the Seven Samurai. And I also noticed that they have the lone reluctant female hero, which they probably took inspiration and went with Ray when they did their prequels or follow up series. So it all kind of comes together uh, to form a kind of amalgamation of different things, which is what Lucas did when he combined the original sci-fi style of the Saturday morning serials that they had. Your Flash Gordons, played by Buster Crabbe, and Buck Rogers, and things of that nature.
Right. Um. What I'm curious is to see, because this isn't. Remember, after the Snyder release of Justice League, he did Army of the Dead, and he did the Thieves movie. I forgot the name of it.
Hmm.
And I think more people like the Thieves movie over Army of the Dead. I saw Army of the Dead. I wasn't very impressed with that. Um, to be quite honest, it's only the 300 series I've been impressed with in regards to Zack Snyder, and I believe Sucker Punch as well. Um, so what kind of baffles me, and I think I was mentioning this to you before, was in regards to Twitter. I haven't seen like people up in arms like, man, this is coming out, Rebel Moon, support it. This is Zack Snyder. It's as if the Snyder cultists slash fanatics, because that's what I call them, that's what I think they are. If they're such a Snyder devotee, why are you not bigging up this movie slash, well, it is a movie on Netflix? Like, why are you not doing that? That just boggles my mind. And
Well, I've seen them on online. Some of these fans, if you will, um, and they wind up trashing one movie to prop up another one. I've seen the graphic of the Rebel Moon is greater than some other movie, and really, if you're a fan of something, you should just follow it and not trash something else. These aren't football teams; these are movies. They're films that everybody can enjoy, regardless of their affiliation. I'm sure that people who watch Star Trek watch Star Wars. I'm sure that people that watch Star Wars watch Star Trek, and only at conventions do you see them lining up against each other.
right, and I'm gonna give it a shot because I like sci-fi, um, the sci-fi genre, um, and I think we kind of do need a break from. I wouldn't say a break from Star Wars because Mandalorian is gonna become up and coming soon, right?
Hmm.
But it's nice to have something else, and maybe we could see. I wouldn't say a different side of Zack Snyder because we all get his. He has this like darkish, gritty theme that he's continued. That's his style. I'm not gonna persecute him for it. I just want to. I just hope that maybe I don't know. I don't want to sound rude, but I hope that it actually is decent. Where I'm not looking to bash him. I'm actually hoping it's decent because so far he hasn't impressed me. Is what I'm trying to get at.
And that's a fair call, I think, because everybody's allowed to have their opinions and their favorites. Some people might claim that there's with Quentin Tarantino, there's always going to be the N word in a Quentin Tarantino movie. You can be a fan of Quentin Tarantino's directing without being a fan of his writing, and definitely without being a fan of the N word. So you can look forward to a new film by him or the latest film by him and still not be excited about several aspects of it. So when you have somebody who's as divisive as Zack Snyder, it might be a wonderfully shot film, very cinematic, very gritty, very tonal in the way that it uses its colors, but you could still wind up not liking it.
Sorry, sorry about that. Excuse me. I didn't mean that. Sorry. And also take in mind what I was gonna get. What I was trying to say before that. I do apologize. I was just drinking something. If you've noticed, a lot of movies um, currently are, unless a studio has full faith in it, or a director or writer, or yeah, right, yeah, studio rather, it's going to streams. We saw that with Prey, which was, most Predator movies. I think out of maybe one or two, maybe you can correct me because um, I think they all went to the movie theaters, right? And I thought the last Prey was a great movie. I thought it was a really great movie, and they're doing a sequel to that prequel. We saw The Gray Man. That was with Ryan Gosling. I thought that was a pretty good action movie, thriller, suspense, and that went straight to Netflix. So we're
Hmm.
seeing that um, studios are really hesitant to send these to the box office because with the franchises that are out there, and like for instance, Halloween just ended. There's like Saw now kind of getting back in the mix with the Book of Spiral, which I think they're probably going to work on a second Spiral too. But you see where I'm coming from, and then Marvel and now DC with James Gunn soon. So what I'm getting at is it. I think it's safe that he's actually doing it because imagine he goes to theaters and then Rebel Moon just makes doesn't even make such money back. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like
there's a thought out there that medium priced movies, and when I say medium price, I mean anywhere from 15 million to 45 million. So for anybody out there that would put that in their pockets, yeah, that would be a great deal of money. But for a film, that would be the mid range. But those movies don't have the track records as a proven property. You have something that's got a long lasting IP, a well known cast of characters, or possibly actors as well, and there you're almost guaranteed a certain amount of money to come back, and that's what you look for whenever you're trying to distribute a film, is a guaranteed return. It's impossible to guarantee a return, but you're looking for the best possible outcome. And then the second thing you have to worry about is you have this streaming service that you need to draw people in, and it's just not cutting it to bring things from the theater to streaming to bring that audience with them. There's going to be some people that do carry over. There's going to be some new people that didn't go to the box office to see it, but you want to bring new people in and new subscribers in. So you have to create brand new product that no one has seen anywhere and is exclusive to these streaming services, so that people will come in and go, yeah, you know what? In December, I think I will pick up Netflix and watch some Rebel Moon, because that's a whole new property. That's something that's totally new. Glass Onion, we'll watch that. We'll watch the next movie, the third movie, however many they have in mind, because that's something different and new. And so they're kind of playing a balancing act of where do we put this film, where do we put that film, which way is going to make the most sense, and which way is going to be the most profitable. If it's not going to be that profitable in the movie theaters and bring people in and wind up costing money, maybe it can make a difference in streaming and bringing in audiences that way. So it's really hard to tell which way they're going to go with different things.
yeah, and you brought up some valid points because with the way the industry has been like gravitating, um, well, since the pandemic, streaming services kind of have dominated for majority of time. And to get back to the Netflix thing, which is the point I was going to get on, Netflix sort of basically demolished Blockbuster, right? Because Blockbuster, you go there, you get your tapes. Now Netflix is kind of down on on the ladder because you got HBO that's coming out with I'm not sure if we're going to talk about it later. Last of Us, Game of Thrones, all the DC properties, and then you got Disney. So it's like, well, you were the big dog, Netflix. So now Netflix is, like you're saying, trying to do this balancing act and putting out movies like Glass Onion and Rebel Moon. So they're trying to stay. It's kind of like Facebook, which became Meta, because they see that Instagram and Twitter are like they're here, so they want to stay relevant. They don't want to become the next MySpace. So
Hmm.
I'm like I said, I want to give it a chance. It's not a DC movie. It's something that it's what he from what I was reading. It's basically he took away all the like the names of like Luke Skywalker and all that, and just kept it as his story. So that's what's going to be interesting. And it's a two-parter, which that means it's going to probably leave us on a cliffhanger. I'm hoping for another because it was like only like I think it was like maybe 30, 40 seconds the teaser. But
Hmm.
it looks pretty decent. That's as much. I'm not gonna say it's great. It looks pretty decent. I just to the Snyder fans out there, I think if you really like him as a director, you should be providing more support instead of trying to just still latch on to some a project that can't we they have he has no control over. Like Rebel Moon, if Rebel let's say Rebel Moon does great, right? Like it gets millions of views. This could be something totally new, and you could put away the Zack Snyder's Justice League and just focus on this. And I think that's not like hindsight's kind of 2020, right? But I don't think the fans of him are looking at it in that way either.
Well, they should also take into account the fact that the second Glass Onion, Glass Onion movie was released in theaters for even just a small window. So, depending on how well this first Rebel Moon movie goes, there is, albeit a really slight chance, that the second film might wind up having a minimal theatrical run. So, that's something that they could look forward to.
Yeah, so we'll see, and I really hope that it turns out well for him. Like again, I saw Army of the Dead, wasn't really impressed. I forgot the name of the Thieves movie, didn't watch it, so I'm going with I'm not a Zack Snyder hater. Believe it or not, I thought the Zack Snyder Justice League was okay. I'm not saying it was the best because I'm telling you, Rosales, I would never in my life sit in a movie theater for 4 hours.
No.
I could barely do it for the Lord of the Rings, and that's because I had but no, there's no way I do it. So I'm hoping the best for him. I really am. I'm trying not to go in with a hater mentality and see how it turns out.
Well, speaking of sitting for an extended period of time, I had seen on the Twitter some people complaining about the length of the first episode of The Last of Us.
What?
Yeah, they were saying it was too long, that it was being 85 minutes, that it was just way too long to sit down and watch through, and that they missed the mark, and that 60 minutes is the perfect time.
I saw it and I was like, okay, for me, when I watch like something like Game of Thrones, and I only get 60 minutes. I'm like, I wish I got more. But when I saw it was 120, I was like, oh, that's a lot. I was like, okay, this is good. It's good. I
Hmm.
didn't get that from watching. Like I already know what happens, but I didn't get that from watching it. I thought it was great pacing. I thought they nailed it with making you like a character, and then you just like get gut punched really hard.
Hmm.
Especially if you're like a parent. That was a gut punch. The first I forgot what they call it. The first not
The
plot,
pilot
but
episode.
yeah, for a first pilot episode, that was a real gut punch. And there was another scene later that was a gut punch. Cause I don't want to spoil
Hmm.
anything for anyone, but I don't. I think people are. This is where I don't want to sound rude. This is where this is to me idiocy because if they do 60 minutes, then it's too short. If they do
Yeah.
if they do 45 minutes, oh why didn't you give us more? Like we've been waiting. It's like
How many times have you come out of a movie that was almost 2 hours long, and you're like, I really would like them to be finished with the next one so that I could watch it? And that's basically what this is. You're going to get yourself a movie, and then next week you're going to get the follow up movie, which essentially is the sequel. If you're looking at it like that, that's the way the Marvel Cinematic Universe wound up doing it. Each movie was an episode, essentially, and it got you hooked for the next one. Let's take a look real quick at the current trailer that's out right now.
oh oh yeah.
If you don't think there's hope for the world, why bother going on?
You haven't seen the world, so you don't know. Keep going for family.
I'm not family.
No? Cargo.
Why are you so important?
Somewhere out west. They're working on a cure. I think what really impressed them was the fact that I didn't turn into a fucking monster.
If she so much as twitches, don't. Don't take me with me. Do what I say when I say it. Got any advice on the best way west? Yeah, go east.
You've come this far, then you know what's out there.
You're not gonna scare us.
Scared him?
Is it hard knowing they were people once?
You have a greater purpose than any of us could have ever imagined. Be careful who you put your faith in.
You trust me?
So that's a look at the Last of Us on HBO Max, and if you notice something different about their zombies, if you will, they're actually made of a fungus. And in real life, there's a fungus that can attack a carpenter ant and bend it to its will and put it in a position so that it could continue making spores of itself. And that's kind of the take, I think, in The Last of Us when it comes to the outbreak.
Correct. Um, and the sad part is, I think in I believe in the episode the first one they find someone that gets stuck to a wall and they're like a husk, like they just eventually just die.
Hmm.
Um, Again, what I like about the show is that the you could see the turmoil in like how people want are like barely scraping by, but yet they want to be free in a sense. And then the revelation about um, her being the cure. That's kind of why they're on that journey. Um, and I thought the first scene with the old lady in the chair, the rocking chair, that creeped me the hell out. When she was like, when the daughter was facing the other way, and you saw her moving, but then when she started eating the other her sister, I believe, I'm like like that was rough. And so I don't know if I was a parent and I saw I would I don't know, I'd feel to see my daughter get killed, and then when the young boy later comes in and they read him and he's red and they throw him, and Pedro Pascal, guy's on the roll. He just dumped the kid's body like it was nothing. Like, because I guess he's so disconnected that he lost his daughter, like he doesn't care. So we're seeing the effects of like how this dystopian world has affected everyone. And I've never watched The Walking Dead. I've not
Hmm.
watched one episode. I've always seen like clips here and there of like a kill count or something. But I think this gives a more, I wouldn't say a realistic perspective, because I don't know. I think I can connect with this more than I could connect with Walking Dead. I don't know if I could put it in words, if you get where I'm coming from.
Well, it's easier to suspend disbelief for something like this because in The Walking Dead there are no examples of zombie viruses or things of that nature. There are actual zombie viruses out there that affect deer and cause them to not be afraid of of humans and traffic and things like that, and they become a lot more aggressive. You wind up finding people taking certain drugs that wind them flipping out and becoming basically cannibals and ripping people's faces off. So, in real life, in real terms, we have witnessed through different episodes of the news certain things that are not connected that you think creatively, if you were a writer, you could connect them together to spin something out. And that's a tradition from fiction and science fiction. Uh, Back in the 50s, you had the Red Scare, the communism, nuclear war, and the atomic age, and all of that gave such massive fuel to science fiction and writing and everything else, and it was just a wonderful time. So it's good to see that happening and taking the zombie genre and turning it on its ear and making something new happen.
Yeah, it's definitely giving a new perspective, which is nice. And I like I like what well, because I believe it's 13 episodes. I'm not sure. Maybe I can get corrected on that. But I know this is going to be a very long journey, because in the first episode they talked about how he's trying to find his brother, and they don't have any technology because I think it's basically all put at this point, and they got to go to Wyoming. I'm like, you're going from, I think, what they're in Washington. No, they're in Boston. They're in Boston,
Hmm.
and they have to. I mean, that's a long. That's like a couple of. That's at least a month or two, or if you're going the old fashioned way with horseback, and I want to see the different dynamic, because there's also I believe there's like the military is in control, so there's no real democracy. I don't know. I was really impressed with the episode. I think what impressed me the most was the pace. I wasn't bored. They started off like, okay, a little homesy, and then like you saw bits and pieces, like when I heard like a fire truck, and then I saw like a plane going, I like, okay, it's slowly build up, and they kept that, and then they calmed you down, and then they went right back up. So I think this is really good. For Pedro Pascal, very good acting. It shows his dynamic as his um, arsenal of acting. And the
Hmm.
girl, I've seen her in other stuff too. She's pretty good. I don't know her name. Again, bad with the names. But I've seen her in other stuff too. She's actually pretty good as well. So I'm excited for the episode tonight, because Sunday at 9 Eastern. So can't wait.
So for those of you who are watching on the interwebs later on, there's going to be no spoilers for what happened on Sunday because this has been taped ahead of time. So we're going to watch it the same as you guys did, and probably enjoy it just as much. But let's keep Pedro in mind and talk about the new Mandalorian trailer. Let me
Um, yeah, I saw it. I thought it was okay. So this might be a little bit controversial. I thought it was I'm excited for the Mandalorian. The trailer was okay. Um, I thought it was okay. They didn't spoil it with too much, but they gave me a good amount. I know what I've gotten so far from the first two seasons, so I'm more excited for the actual first episode than the trailer when I watched it.
hmm
Um, and that's as much as I could say. I mean, I definitely we saw more of Mandalore, which is cool. Grogu using his powers. Of course, I wouldn't be surprised if toy sales rise up for that character. um, and we saw some lightsabers, so I would assume there's going to be a flashback, maybe more detail into the story of how he got saved. Um, Again, I wouldn't be surprised if they release another trailer, but I highly doubt it. We know we're going to see Ahsoka at some point. I guarantee. I have to assume we're going to see Ahsoka because there's an Ahsoka series. But
hmm
overall, I thought it was an okay trailer. It wasn't bad. but I'm not overly excited.
Now, here's the thing about Disney as a whole, including all of its little compartmentalized companies, Marvel, Lucasfilms, the Disney films, and things like that. Whatever they have, they wind up using it to launch into whatever's coming next. So I 100% agree. We're going to see some Ahsoka in there. We're also probably going to be teased. I think as well, with who it was that saved Roku. I don't think we're getting that answer this time. I think we're just going to get teased a little bit, and maybe just maybe we might see another series being launched off of that. So who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get a glimpse of Grand Admiral Thrawn, like he was mentioned in Mando season 2. Just making sure. So I wouldn't be
Hmm.
surprised if we hear that. I mean, of course, I love seeing lightsabers. Uh, the dark saber. We didn't even see the dark saber in this entire trailer either. So I think I think they're playing it safe too. I thought it was a safe trailer. That's the best way I can put it. I I
Yeah.
I thought it was a very safe trailer.
If you were to put the dark saber into the teaser trailer, then you would start getting into the politics of it all and the way he would be reuniting the clans, or how he would wind up having to sacrifice himself in a battle to give it back up to the person who would best fit having it. So, and you just can't give it up in a fight. You can't just like let somebody win.
Right.
It's and that's not the kind of thing you want to draw away from if it's something that you plan on doing in season 4. If you're going to drag this out that long, so you're right. Very safe, very much the teaser that it was.
And I believe the plan was that Mando, Boba Fett, they're all supposed to lead up to like eventually, and Ahsoka is supposed to lead up to like this Avengers level sort of series on Disney Plus. That was the plan to, because this is before the First Order, and so I think this will be like leading up to Thrawn and all this stuff. So
Hmm.
it's safe. I think it's fine. I thought seeing more of the Mandalorians was cool. Um, I was curious about that planet that they were on, and it looked like Coruscant, but it doesn't look. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Um, but yeah, it was a safe trailer. That's the best thing I can. And Grogu in that cave, he looks like he's more like before. It's not like, oh, I my power is all of a sudden up here. It's like, okay, no, you're not gonna try to roll up on me. It seems like he has more control, so that was good to see. So I'm excited. I think it's gonna be a good series. I think it's what's revitalized the faith in Star Wars. Hopeful, because the sequel really um, turned a lot of people's heads. And let's I don't between me and you, I don't think Boba Fett was that good. I think the best thing to come out of this new Star Wars, even from the sequel series, is Mandalorian and Bad Batch. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, Boba Fett took a lot of bats, and I think that was probably a little much for me myself.
Yeah. So I mean that's my take on it.
I got one more trailer to show you and get your opinion on. Let's have a look.
Uh, well, I will say that I if for those who have watched the first season, that character, I forgot his name. I think it's Hataru. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, but you
It's
know,
I think the character's name is Seth Rogen. I think that's pretty much what it is.
uh, they, I think so. Let me preface this first. I think Amazon is hitting it out the park with The Boys, and Invincible. These are two shows that are superhero genre, but they hit in a different way. Like they're not kitty bait. Oh, they're funny but gritty, but still has light moments, but still has a bigger overwhelming plot. They're
Hmm.
incorporating all of these things while still giving you that comic book feel. Now, in regards to the the teaser they gave us, it wasn't much, but you know, last we saw was he got beat up by his dad, and he's recuperating. His dad left, so I'm curious where they're going to take the story from there. I'm sure most people have read the book. I've never read Invincible, so I'm not spoiling it. I've never read it, but we'll see what happens on that aspect. Um, but I think they're gonna knock it out the park. I mean, the episode where the whole like Justice League version gets destroyed was already a eye popping moment for a lot of people. So I wouldn't be surprised if the second season gives us more of those moments.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I'm excited. I mean, again, this is that thing that we were talking about earlier in regards to Netflix. This is something that they said they threw it out there like, okay, we're gonna do Invincible, and it just blew up. And now this is season two. I'm sure they have like maybe probably 2, 3 more seasons in them. Same thing with the boys. They threw that out there, and it has a following. So, I'm excited for this property.
I'm excited to see how the entire streaming area is going to develop because of these things. If you look at what Amazon is doing, I think they're a really good baseball team when it comes to their streaming content. In other words, some of them are knocking it out of the park, and others are choking at bat. And if you were to round out the averages, they would make it to the playoffs. So no guarantees on whether they win, but with things like the properties you just mentioned, Invincible and The Boys, they are taking those and doing their darndest to make sure that they're delivering on the product themselves. Netflix has developed a system that is based off of a system that is currently not working so well. Back in the old days, broadcast TV, a television show would get more and more expensive, and the actors would get paid more and more money per season because more and more money was coming in with each season. They could charge more for the ad buy rates and make a whole lot more money for everybody. So the longer a season went, Grey's Anatomy and Simpsons and whatnot, excuse me, the more money you're going to make on these projects. With something like Netflix, what they have done is they run a series for roughly 3, possibly 4 seasons, and then they kill it, regardless of whether it is what their fan base is. If it's not Stranger Things level, they're going to axe
Right.
it. So you have these other properties that are coming out now in different streaming services. You've got Yellowstone that's making its mark for Paramount, and I'm curious to see how they're going to play out because some of these, like Paramount, they will have ads based on them, uh, and whereas Prime does not have ads, but they will eventually run out of the funds to sustain it because the actors and the production companies still have that same mentality of, well, we did good this year, you should pay us more next year, and the next year, and the next year. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes.
Yeah, and I never. Thanks for that explanation. I never really put it in that thought of it in that light that they're gonna have to make more money in the negotiations. Um, I think though what I will say about I think if we were to do like a poll I think right now, if I had to only keep one, as much as I'm a Marvel fan, I would keep my Amazon account only because I could literally. I think maybe you can disagree. You probably could disagree on this or would disagree. I could rewatch the first three seasons of The Boys in any order. Like that's my personal opinion. Um, Invincible was one season, so can't really say. But I think what I'm getting at is I think that they're also limiting how many shows they have. Like if you've noticed, where like certain like Disney, they were putting out too many shows, right? So
Hmm.
a lot of people are demanding the money that you're saying, and they're getting backlash. Like She-Hulk was a perfect example of how much backlash that series got. Even though they had like Charlie Cox appeared in it and Wong appeared in it, you have all the and those actors aren't cheap. Like none of those
No.
actors are cheap. Even the guy that plays Abomination, I forgot his name.
Hmm.
He that's not cheap. So what I'm getting at is I think if they keep their properties to a minimal number but a good amount of content, they might not have to deal with that. But you're right, the ads will have to eventually flow through there. Um, Most streaming services aren't having an ad-free option, and like you said, production, actors, all that stuff costs money. So
I think it's interesting to see that we've gone from broadcast TV to cable television to streaming, and streaming becoming the cable television version of streaming. And now the streaming service is becoming the broadcast TV with ads and everything else. So uh, it's just kind of fun to see how it's coming out.
and it's funny because I guarantee if you were to walk around your neighborhood and ask everyone, "Hey, buddy next door, do you have cable?" He's probably going to tell you no. He's probably like, "Hey, I have like three streaming services, and if he has kids or her have kids, yeah, we put on this for us. We find what show we like and we watch it. And if I think I wouldn't be surprised if cable is I wouldn't say obsolete, but is trimmed down a bit because there's no like if you look at there's no way anyone can watch 1,000 channels or whatever within a day. It's impossible, right? So
No, no, but you had AT&T and some of the other Verizon coming together and trying to get in their aspect of controlling the entertainment delivery of the internet. And so they are embedded with content delivery right now. I mean, you can't have streaming without the uh, um, the cable companies, which are also the telephone companies and the communication companies. So they're trying to keep into it just as well. And for a while there, they tried to throttle down Netflix, and then there was some antitrust issues or something like that. I didn't keep track of it at that time, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. We got a good year headed. Got a good year ahead of us. We've got some entertaining things happening. Can't wait to see where the Mandalorian goes, The Last of Us, how people are going to deal with that, because each show is going to be varying lengths, but still a lot longer than 60 minutes. So, and that's the freedom you get with streaming and not being tied to the schedule of starting at 8 p.m., starting at 9 p.m., or starting at 8:30, 9, and so on. So you get to have your show, and they can still be 26 minutes, like the She-Hulk, and not have to worry about anything. So it's going to be interesting to see.
yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see. And also, this is a very pivotal year for movie productions as well, to see how they flourish because outside of the streaming shows, there's going to be a ton of movies. So this is a very important year. Um, you know, we can't be like, oh, it's the pandemic. At this point, it's like 3 years have passed. We should things should finally be back to normal. So This is a to me this is a very key year.
I don't think I don't think people are ready to go back into lockdown stage at this point. I think one thing that oh my goodness, Avatar. One thing Avatar has showed us is that we are willing to go back into the theaters and spend a little bit extra to jump out of the reality that we live in for a little while, suspend disbelief, and just have a good time. And I hope that we can get back to doing that and that our movies reflect that, just going out and having a good time and having fun and telling decent stories. And, hopefully they make enough money to start paying people decent wages to make these stories. But animation houses and animators, it's a totally different topic that we'll save for a later date.
Right. Yeah, so I'm excited for this year. I think it's gonna be it's gonna a lot of questions are gonna be answered. That's for sure.
Well, we'll start talking about it when these shows start coming out. Mandalorian's coming up soon. Rebel Moon at the end of the year. Last of Us is going on right now. So, Warren, thanks for coming on the show and talking about these topics. I really appreciate it. Had a great time with you.
Yeah, and I can't wait to do it again. And yeah, it was really fun discussing this.
Folks, you can find him on Twitter at Warren on Twitter, and you can see his other opinions on other topics as well. And look for him on different shows on YouTube because he's a panelist on a lot of different things. So, you got anything coming up this week?
I think I will be. I spoke with MXK. We're gonna be discussing the season for esports and League of Legends. In regards, I pay attention to most of the European side, not North America, because of my own personal opinions. So we're going to be
Mhm.
talking about some stuff in regards to that and all the changes in first week one results of the teams. So that's something I'll probably be on about.
A lot happening in esports this week. Again, that's a topic for a different time, but thanks again, and thanks for being here. And folks out there, make it a great day. We'll see you next time.